CCWA. That's a big
I'd like to call the meeting to order here for October the 19th. Looking around, I see no one here from the general public, so we're going to dispense with item number 2 on our agenda, which is the public comment session. We'll move on to item number 3. We have all had the opportunity to review the minutes of our prior meeting. Are there any additions and/or corrections? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion and second for the approval of those minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and second.
We were
All
here.
those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed by like sign. Let's move on then to item number 4, which is the approval of the vouchers. Again, we have all had the opportunity for their review. This time I'd like to ask for any questions that there may be in regard to the vouchers. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion and a second for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed by like sign. Let's move on to item number 5, which is the monthly reports for the month of August. And I will turn the floor over to Mr. Fagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you, you have the revenue and expense summary for the month of August 2017. The net income in the electric department was actually a slight loss of $33,000 for the month. And the water and sewer department had a net income of $5,300 for the month. If you look over here year to date,
54.
compared to our forecast, we're pretty much dead on. The electric department is ahead $20,000 of the forecast. Despite the weather being fairly mild, we were able to keep our expenses under by $150,000, which really helped us with our forecast. The water and sewer department, the sales are under here, as you see in the water department, because it was mild. Last year it was a lot warmer and we had a lot more people watering and stuff. But again, our expenses are about $10,000 less than what we anticipated. So we end up about $1,600 under the forecast, which I call dead on. I don't really have anything else to say other than the fact, we started off good last month. This month it balanced out, which happens all the time. Which is why you look at more than 1 month when you're trying to see how you're doing. Overall, both departments are right on target, though. So.
It was a cool August with a lot of rain. That's
For sure.
That's all I have, unless you have any specific questions.
And I'll ask for those at this time. Any questions and/or comments? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the monthly reports for the month of August.
we approve the monthly reports.
Second. I have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? By like sign. Okay, let's move on then to the project status report. And as is the custom, we normally kick off and we ask that the electric, Mr. Bowles, report on that to us first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to give your project status for our electric department. As you see, we have quite a few projects there we've been tracking for you from your budget, your capital outlay. The New River project is ahead of schedule by probably 3 to 4 weeks at this point. We're very happy with that. The Rock Bridge Road was completed on time and on schedule. Same for Faust Kearney. It was actually completed earlier this morning, but when I submitted this sheet, that was Monday, so it wasn't done then. So we're ahead of schedule on that. We started on our mountain job. The substation job is proceeding right on schedule and right on budget, and we're ahead of schedule with our Clear Branch Road construction as well. So all roses and rainbows on the project status. Be happy to answer any specific questions you have.
Do we have any for Mr. Bowles? All right. Let's move on then to the Water and Sewer Department. I'll ask Mr. Hawkins to address us on that.
We don't use terms like roses and rainbows on the sewer side, but, our project,
That'd be an NA, wouldn't it?
our project's also completing on budget and on schedule. We're still awaiting the large, portion of the money, and that's in the equipment that should be coming in within the next month or so. So we're pleased with the progress of this project.
Any questions? If not, let's move on to item number 7, and that's the approval of a couple of purchase orders, okay? And the first one that we're gonna talk about is, number 103, which is, for distribution transformers. And Mr. Bowles?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are our standard purchase of our high voltage transformers. It's a good thing when we have to buy transformers because that means that we're upgrading our system and hooking up additional customers. So it's about every 3 months, 4 months, depending upon the demand for the transformers. We have to go out and let an award. This particular one all goes to Utility Sales Agency as being the lowest and best bid submitted, including the evaluation. So without reservation, we recommend the PO be awarded exclusively to Utility Sales in the amount of $74,572.
Any questions?
It seems like the last time we also gave it to United Utility Sales Agency, but they were representing Siemens equipment at that time. Did they?
Those distributors have different lines, you know, they call them cards, line cards of manufacturers that they represent. They represent a transformer company called United Transformer Services, and they also represent ERMCO. In this particular case, they bid the ERMCO. So, yeah, they're not just an exclusive distributor for one particular manufacturer. In the other case, it was the breakers.
Am I amiss when I make this statement or not? They understand, I believe also, that we go through the, I'm gonna call it analysis process in order to make sure, and excuse the terms, that we're getting the most bang for our buck, because best performance and the criteria that we're gonna be looking at. So
Yes. Yes.
I'm assuming that might be the factor for ERMCO in this particular case, that theirs is the best evaluated.
They were not only the
equipment.
best evaluated, but they're the lowest bid as well, and you're exactly right. Behind this piece of paper is a virtual stack of iterations that we go through on evaluating the losses, because they have to submit
Longevity, all kinds of.
all that
Yeah,
stuff, and
everything
we
that you can
churn
think
those
of.
gears, and this is a summary of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So moved. Any other questions? We have motion,
Second?
second. We have motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed by like sign? Okay, let's move on then to the next, which is the pumping equipment and trailer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, this was budgeted in your capital outlay budget, trailer-mounted bypass pump at $85,000, and that's what the estimates were on this pump. We did get bids. We've got some very good bids, but the difference between the bidders here is the difference between a Tier 4 and a Tier 3 engine. And let me just tell you what that is real quick. 1990 Clean Air Act, they had a phased-in approach for emission reduction on diesel engines, off-road diesel engines. Different horsepowers had to comply at different times, and there was a tiered approach. Well, now we're in the span between Tier 3 and Tier 4, and we bought some equipment. We've had some trucks for a long time that have been Tier 3, and we've got EGR and SCR and all the reductions in the exhaust gas fluids and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, we're in a bid process here where 3 of these manufacturers only had Tier 4s, Tier 4 engines to put with this pump on this trailer, because it's a diesel engine and a pump and a trailer. And Wascon is representing Pioneer Pumps, who is a great pump, and they have a great engine, but they had some Tier 3s still available to put with this pump at the size of the pump. Perfect timing. All these other manufacturers, all they had was Tier 4s, because you could manufacture them up to a certain time, and then you could no longer manufacture Tier 3. You had to go to Tier 4. These other guys sold all their Tier 3s. Pioneer had some Tier 3s. They went out and bought every one they could find that was suitable for use with their pumps. So we got a pump set and a pump. That's the reason why the money is different. The pumps are very comparable, but we got a good price because it's Tier 3. So the question is, can you get parts for a Tier 3? There's probably 1 million Tier 3 engines out there, so yes. You're looking at the efficiencies. Do the Tier 4s run better? No. Are they efficient? Maybe 2%.
Probably run worse.
Well, so much technology went into the emission reduction that there's a lot of technology in these engines. Are they better engine? I don't know. How long have they been running? Tier 3's been running a long time. So you got Tier 1, 2, 3. This is a Tier 3 engine. We're very pleased with the bids. It's a great pump set, so I recommend award to the low bidder. Even though he is substantially less, it is a comparable pump equipment.
Appreciate the information. Any additional questions or comments? Then I will entertain a motion and second for the approval of the purchase from Wascon Incorporated on the pumping equipment and trailer.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second?
and we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign. Let's move on then to, to item number 8 on our agenda, which is the approval of work order number 630. Ready down there, Mr. Bowles?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank
take
you,
her away.
Mr. Chairman. Work Order 630 is one of our largest projects in our budget this year. It's in our capital outlay for $600,000. We finished all of our engineering, and this work order is now estimated out at just a tad over $600,000. But we're very pleased with that. This will enable us to bring this old line that was built largely in the 1950s and early 60s from the woods out along the state highway, up along Highway 116, for the first 3.2 miles from Briceville up towards a little community called Laurel Grove. And then next year, we'll be proposing the second phase of this project to connect Laurel Grove with the end of this line and complete our work throughout that area. So we're very happy with the product that we've got from an engineering standpoint, and without reservation, we would ask your approval to approve Work Order 630 and allow us to proceed with this work with our own forces.
Cost of installation, $327,000, is that the line or is that labor? What's included in that?
It's all the material, the labor, the overhead associated with it, as well as the transportation, the store's expense. As Greg has said before, we use the POSTM, payroll overhead, stores, transportation, and material. So all that goes into installation. The removal is largely is pure labor, of course, and overhead. Salvage is an estimate based upon what we can get for the conductor, usually some copper that we tear down and stuff. And then because we have such an extensive amount of hot work to do, we put an adder on there based just upon experience. Our experience.
Is that, I mean, I've meant to ask this before, is that just because you've got to take a little more time and a little more careful and
Yes,
you just can't go at it full blown, so that.
have a green field,
Right.
so it's much more laborious to do. I mean, there is some hot work that's built into the nature of our job estimations anyway.
But because-
When we put an extra adder, though, there's a there's even more time that we have to do. The crews have to go in and actually spread out the old wire to give them enough room to set the new pole, frame the new pole, and then bring the new conductor in so that it doesn't, during construction, pardon me, get down into the energized conductor. So, yeah, that's a very time-intensive process.
When the utility I worked for before I came here, they did a lot of their contract line installation, and any hot work was 100% added, not 20%. It was 100%. They would double whatever the cost of insulation was, and double that to represent working hot.
And I'd say that is,
Standard. That's
yeah, it might even be more than that now. It's just that our normal has got hot work
Got
built
some in
into
it.
it. This is like a snowball on top of that. So that's where the money is in the labor and overhead.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion and a second for the approval of work order number 630.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
That brings us to item number 9, which is other business. Mr. Fay?
Mr. Chairman, I wish I could talk for a while, but apparently Vicky now is going to get the blame for keeping us over, but she's not here. I can tell you publicly that we were very pleased for the recognition that we got from the Courier certifying CUB as one of the best utility in the Anderson County Award. So we appreciate that, and we salute the other utilities in the area that are all committed to customer service and providing quality service for their customers also. And that, Mr. Chairman, is as much as I can extend that award, timeout, and I have nothing else to offer.
Well, you did about all you could do.
I
Greg.
did. I
Yeah, you
really
did.
did.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do then, we're gonna start down on the end with Mr. McBride. Anything to add, comments, questions? Mr. Price?
Nothing to add.
Ms. Harrell?
I'm good.
Well, guess what? We are adjourned.
Let the